Okay, I'm trying this again to see if the audio actually works this time. Hmm. Okay, I'm trying this again to see if the all right, all right. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to go full screen here and see if it's still trucked. Because I went into the options and I put the music and sound at zero just because even at 10 you can only jump by 10%, and so it was still actually kind of loud. All right, so if this actually works this time, this is I delivered the Gettysburg Address over here and offered all of my so-called insights, and it was all for naught. But basically, what I wanted to point out with this game, the main thing that became apparent just within all of 1 microsecond, is that the game basically forces movement. You don't really have any precision control over the position of your characters. So for example, like when I just do the combo move combos into like a jumping attack. And when I do that, you see, like I just did a jumping attack. I tried to jump attack somebody, and then it positions you. I mean, look at that, and then it positions you out of range of attacking the character because the way they designed it, they integrated all of this movement into your basic attacks, and so you don't really always have really good control over where your characters are placed, and it's a real problem in a game like this because, I mean, one of the basic gameplay principles of beat 'em ups is positioning. You want to be positioning yourself so that you can control the all the enemies that are attacking you, and it's not really doing it. And so, and the other thing too, I just wanted to point out is basically almost every normal attack in this game is just badly drawn. I mean, look at how the character's legs don't even really move when she does a punch. There's no there's no shifting weight around. There's no feeling of impact. It's just it feels limp. Yeah, yeah, I mean, look at that shit. It's like it keeps taking me out of the position of the character I'm trying to hit. It's like, let me fucking move my character where I want it to be, and then do the attack. And just look at like how slow the movement is. So that's the other thing too. Um, I just briefly tried all of the starting characters in the game. Only this character has a charge, like a tap charge. All of the other characters can only walk, and they move at a fucking glacial pace. I mean, the walk speed in this game is so fucking slow, and it's accentuated by the fact that the game is widescreen, and so you actually have a lot of horizontal space that you have to traverse just to move around. This entire game is fucking gramped out. It's like, okay, move, Grandma. Come on, Grandma. You can move it. You can do it. You can get across the screen. No, you can't. There's a real problem with that. I mean, even Streets of Rage 3 had dashing, and I think that was just like a basic thing that they had to get right, and they didn't. Um, the game has like a lot of weapons. It has a dedicated pickup button, so you can stand over objects, while you're attacking, which is good. Like I'm actually a big proponent of that. That's one of the positive things that I can say about it. The other thing too that I really like, I'll clear these guys and show you, but there's actually one mechanic in this game that was good, and it's something that I felt was like, okay, that's novel, that's interesting. At least they kind of brought something new to the table for Streets of Rage. So when you pick up weapons, if you press the pickup button again, you can drop them, and if you move the directional pad and press the pickup button, you can throw the item. But what's neat is that when you throw an item and it bounces off a wall, or if an item is just in midair and you time it, you can actually catch the item again. So that's actually, like I said, at least I can say that's actually kind of neat. At least they did one thing that didn't increase the size of the veins in my forehead. At least I can say that. That's something. But even that is tainted because, like I said, this thing just feels like what it is, a cheap budget game. They kept talking about how, oh, we hand drew everything and the animation is so smooth and it looks so incredible. Okay, so when you push the button to drop an item, they didn't even draw a fucking dropping the item animate. The characters don't even move their fucking arm to drop an item. It just flops out of your hand. Give me a fucking break. You're telling me that you're gonna charge people money for this shit? This is not a AAA. This is not even an AA or any A tier game. This is pure budget crapola, and it just has a lot of like the basic laziness going on there. Where incredibly, even though it's 2020, this game only has stereo sound support. So if you have a surround sound setup, you can't tell obviously just because I have the volume in the game, all the way at the lowest setting. But so basically, I can have this character in the left-hand corner of the screen, and I can be doing whatever to make sounds. Those sounds will come out of my right fucking speaker, and I can be all the way on the right corner of the screen, all the way the right. All the way to the right of the camera and be attacking, and the fucking sound will come out of the left speaker. It's just like what the hell is that? And this isn't one of those things where you can't bullshit me. You can't say, oh, well, hey man, games cost a lot of money to make, and you gotta draw the line somewhere and just ship things because these things aren't free, and everything takes time and what. Okay, look, I've done it. It takes like 5 minutes to add that to a game. I'm not even fucking exaggerating. I added that to a game in like 5 minutes. It's fucking easy. So there's no excuse for that shit. People, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they didn't do it. Because they know that nobody gives a shit about audio. And they knew they were doing a Switch version. And the fucking shitty portable Switch is, people aren't even going to be using surround setups on that thing. So they knew that they could get away with it. They knew that they could just get away with stereo sound and take the path of least resistance. And all the shills, Digital Foundry, IGN, whoever the fuck else, they're all go, oh, this game is great. It has wonderful sound. Oh yeah. Yeah. We're real technically minded game reviewers. Talking about how great all of the technical aspects of this game are, and they don't even fucking point out that it doesn't support a basic surround speaker setup in 2020. And I just want to specifically point out like how fucking stupid Digital Foundry is. They did a video about this game, and I just found it so comical because these guys speak in terms as cheesy as GamePro used to write about, games in the 90s. Like, for example, and listen for this too, because when you start to listen for this and realize how infantile and dumb these guys are, you won't be able to take them seriously anymore. So they'll say things like, this game boasts 8 stages. It boasts something. Okay, look. Games don't boast anything, you fucking idiots. Games have levels, games have graphics, games have sounds, games have capabilities. No games boast anything. Stop trying to pretend that you're a fucking writer. You're not. You're not a fucking writer, man. You don't know how to write well. So don't use the word boast when you're talking about a feature that a game has. But I just find it really hilarious that this game supposedly boasts so much, but it doesn't boast 5.1 sound support. It boasts stereo sound support in 2020. And also, I mean, look at how grandpa this game is. I mean, look at this enemy. I'm literally only moving this game with one hand, moving the directional pad. Why isn't this motherfucker in my grill? Why is this guy grandpa'd out? Where is the intensity? Fucking attack me. Make me feel like there is some impetus to actually move forward. Give the game some fucking momentum. This game needs a shot in the arm. It needs, it needs some serious vitamins because this game is limp. I mean look at this shit. What is this shit? Why isn't it doing anything? This doesn't even look like a finished fucking game to me. Did I just break it? Oh yeah. So you can watch your IGN video, and they'll show this game being so wonderful. Oh, this is the best Streets of Rage game ever made. This is the best beat 'em up ever made. Oh yeah. Oh, this is a great game. It's almost as if none of the people who reviewed it even tried actually, playing it or doing anything. They went out of their way to make some video cuts to make this game seem like it was so awesome. But just by doing the most superficial things, you can break this game. This game doesn't fucking work. I mean, look at this shit. Look. Why didn't that hit me? Why didn't that fucking hit me? This game is broken. They didn't do the most basic shit. I can almost guarantee you that the people that made this game, had never actually played a beat 'em up in the arcades. Before starting working on this game, they do not know how to make these games. They do not understand these games. They don't know why they're fun. These games are all about controlling chaos. You're basically, one person or a few people against an army, and it's about positioning, placement, controlling the chaos, and a feeling of momentum. You're supposed to feel pressure. The games are supposed to, urge you to move forward. This game just says, "Hey, you guys, I'm slow." I mean, if anybody's played World of Warcraft, this entire game is the first phase of Kel'Thuzad and Naxxramas. I'm slowly watching an abomination walk towards me at 0.00001 mile per hour. And nothing's happening. This isn't exciting me. It's... I mean, and even just basic stuff too. Like, okay, so the game has like a grapple mechanic, just like any beat 'em up, where you get close to somebody and you can grab them, right? But because this guy has a shield, you can't do the grapple. But because the people that made this don't actually like video games and don't know what fun is, they didn't think to do something like, oh, well, if I sneak up behind the guy and I get behind him, maybe I should be able to do the grapple. Because that would make sense. It would make sense that if you could sneak up behind somebody, that you could grab them from behind, even if they had the shield in the other direction. But nope, you can't do that because the people that made this don't know shit about video games, don't like playing video games, and blow. And it has all the typical problems of these games where they couldn't figure out what to do in terms of actually taking any of this stuff forward. Because, basically anybody who knows about these games knows what the problem with beat 'em ups is. The problem with beat 'em ups is that you can't make them fair without making them too easy. Because basically, if you make a beat 'em up fair, you will just be able to annihilate everybody, and the game will be too easy. Because in the context of these games, it makes sense, that if I'm punching somebody in the face and they're reeling back, they're not going to be able to just instantly counterattack and kill me. So what the solution to this problem has always been is that we will basically allow the enemies to cheat. They will be able to just miraculously counter you. They'll have invincibility frames and be able to ignore your attacks and all that kind of thing. And that's the route that this game took. But why I find that so disappointing is because if you really think about it, there are other alternatives to making these games challenging, but also making them fair, and they didn't explore any of them. One of the main things that you can do is you can try, overwhelming, the player. You can, basically, you can make it fair, and basically one-on-one you can trash anybody. But if you overwhelm the player, then it still becomes challenging because you have to actually worry about the positioning of all the other enemies and worry about how what's going to happen when 10 or 15 of them attack you at once. But and the reason that wasn't in a lot of old games is because the hardware wasn't actually fast enough to do that. It couldn't handle 20 enemies on the screen at once. But today, with the hardware that we have, you can do that. But for some reason, what they did instead with this shit is that they used the same old 25-year-old plus model to just basically allowing the enemies to do bullshit to make the game artificially more challenging instead of coming up with anything fresh. It's just like this, right? See, so I start attacking somebody, but see, they can just essentially ignore the attacks and still attack you too. So you're forced into avoiding them. And I said, that's fine. That's how things used to be done, but we do have other options today. And like I said, it's the same old thing too. I mean, it's got that going on, where if you just, and this is a real problem too, because see, and once again, if you actually overwhelm players and have, the player attacked from all sides, you can't, mechanics like that won't play out because there's always going to be pressure put on you, somebody attacking you from behind or from another direction. But when you have this, this low density grandpa stuff where you're only fighting a handful of enemies at once, then you're going to get all those crappy scenarios playing out. It's really basic, and really lazy design. Like they didn't even think about it. They didn't even think about what can we actually do to bring this thing forward. They just decided to make something that superficially feels like Streets of Rage, but doesn't have any of the charm of Streets of Rage, and at the same time, doesn't really take the genre forward in any way. Like I said though, in all fairness though, this game is no Raging Justice. It isn't just like completely broken where it just feels like complete shit. I wouldn't say this game feels good, but it's not Raging Justice bad. Like the basic control, it's like when I move, it more or less does what you think. So it's not that horrific, but that's pretty faint praise, just saying that you're not as bad as Raging Justice was just, that was just such a pitiful pile of garbage that, I would have been shocked if it had been, that bad. Just other technical things too. The game is locked at 60 hertz. If I haven't mentioned that before, so even though I'm running at 144 hertz right now, the game to me is noticeably choppy because like I said, I'm at the point where 60 hertz looks like shit to me. I don't like the way 60 hertz looks anymore. I can feel it, and so there was no reason that it couldn't have done that. Absolutely no reason at all. It could have been unlocked where it ran at whatever your refresh rate was. So I don't know. Well, actually, I do know why that happened, because the people that made this didn't really give a shit, and the console platforms that it was really designed for are all 60 hertz, so they didn't bother. But I still find it disappointing. There's stuff that they're doing. They spend a lot of time on the lighting in this game. See how there's kind of like an overlaid, like highlight system where they kind of overlay a highlight and then change the brightness of it depending on how close or far away from a light source you are. It's it's interesting. It's something. I don't know if it really like makes or breaks anything. My only criticism of something like this is readability is very important in games like this. Once again, go back to the gold standard, go back to Final Fight. Take any random screenshot of Final Fight. Within a second, you can instantly identify, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, I know where everything is, I know what's happening. But if you look at the scene, if I took a screenshot of this, what do I see? I see a shady, dark character. Like, if you had no context, and didn't know, you wouldn't even know that my character was a good guy. You wouldn't be able to identify it. So in terms of readability, it's really not a good thing. And so once again, it just kind of goes back to, it's like, yeah, that's fine. That's like an interesting special effect that you can put in there. But is it actually good for the game? Does it actually make the game better? And it doesn't. You know, it's just, you know, basically just another indication of these guys don't actually know, you know, what makes these games good. I'm gonna go and pick another one of the characters here because I really want to harp on how sluggish this shit is. So, like I said, all the other characters don't have a charge, and so I just want you to see like how completely sluggish and you know, grandma. I typically say, you know, grandpa, but for in this context, I'm going to say grandma'd out. Look at that! Look at that walk speed. It. I mean, this is killing me. I mean, to the point where I don't. I mean, I was told that this game it takes about 2 hours to beat. I don't think I could play this for 2 hours. I don't think I could get through that. I mean, like the. Come on, Grandma. You can, come on, Grandma. You can get across the screen. Come on, a little faster. It's the people that made this don't like video games. They might say they do in interviews, and they might talk about how, you know, their great grandparents owned a Genesis, but they don't actually like video games. I guarantee you they don't, because nobody who actually plays anything would have been able to tolerate this this movement, and the fact that no major review on the internet for this game has even brought up the fact that, you know, this game is essentially like, you know, walking through a tar pit, basically tells me that they are complete frauds and shouldn't even be taken seriously. It's just it's baffling, actually. I mean, I mean, because it's such an easy thing to get right, you know. I mean, just you know, the game should not feel sluggish. The game should have some form of you know, pace to it, where it just isn't completely putting you to sleep. I mean, look at this. Move, game, move. I mean, why does everything take so long to get started in this game? It's just it's like the game just is you know, on some kind of sedatives or something. You know, it's just it's very strange. To talk a little bit about some of the mechanics in here, just to like cover the bases. So the game has you know, multiple aerial attacks. So like if you jump and then hold down and attack, you do like an alternate jump attack, and so that's like that, you know, that hand chop. And you can combo those into your normal jump attack. But you'll notice again, though, that it's like whenever you do these moves, notice how it's forcing my movement. See, you know, it forced me back. And if you look at, you know, games like Final Fight, pretty much none of the moves screw with your positioning. You know, they let you do things without, you know, completely shifting you know, your position and screwing up you know, like where you want to place your character. The other thing too that I just have to point out, I mean, so in terms of like art design, who thought that it was a good idea? So they put in like these animations, right? You know, for turning around when you basically just like, you know, flip you know, position. So who thought that it was a good idea to draw these frames, making the character's eyes solid white to make her look like a fucking zombie when you're moving back and forth like this? I mean, what is this? Is this the Thriller video, or is it fucking Streets of Rage 4? Like, what the fuck is this? I don't want Blaze to look like a goddamn zombie. But never mind. Digital Foundry said that this game has amazing graphics. I take that back. This game looks great. Yeah, I mean, so anyway, and the game has like a hold mechanic. There's a lot of stuff going on in the game with like flashing. If you hold down the attack button, you flash green, and then if you let go, you do a strong attack. So, yeah, okay. I mean, look at this. Why is this game so slow? Why isn't anything happening? Why am I just slowly walking around and enemies are slowly inching towards me? It just yeah, I said there's no way there's no way I'm gonna be able to get through this. Absolutely no way I'm gonna be able to play this for like 2 hours. It just isn't gonna happen. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, okay. So why did okay, move game? You gonna move? Oh, there you go. Okay, come on, buddy, come on. You can attack me. Come on, go ahead. This is really intimidating, isn't it? I'm just feeling the adrenaline, feeling the intensity. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell me how great this game is, Digital Foundry. Tell me that this is such a wonderful beat 'em up, the best Streets of Rage game. Tell me, I'll definitely believe you. And I just have to point out, um, so if you look at just the art design, right? So look at the background, look at Blaze. I mean, and you can just see how this whole thing is just a complete clusterfuck. So the characters are all curves, they're rounded, that the shape of them. But if you look at the backgrounds, it just you see like a lot of like angular art. Everything is straight. The lines are straight. Everything looks sterile and clean and robotic and inorganic. It doesn't fit. The backgrounds don't fit the characters. It doesn't look like this character exists in the same universe that this background exists in. And I said it's just another case of um, these guys just inherently getting this stuff. I can't get over this fucking walk speed. I cannot believe that people aren't talking about the walk speed. Like how did 80 different people review this game and not talk about the fucking walk speed? It's like the first thing you notice when you start playing the game. It's like, oh hey, I just pushed the right direction and this game moves like a fucking dinosaur in molasses and tar and whatever and quicksand, whatever else we got. That's what we're moving in here. I don't know why cops would have like neon green shirts, but I'm telling you, I said I don't know, gaming 2020. I think we're done here. I think it's pretty much. Oh yeah, and so even though I obviously don't have it on, and I haven't listened to like every track all the way through yet, but the music that I've heard in the game so far is complete crap, and it's I mean you can tell that they were trying to sound like Streets of Rage 2, and failing horribly, but nobody's gonna remember any of the songs in this game. Nobody's going to. Remember them for 1 second after they're done playing the game. They're not going to be classics. People aren't going to be buying the original soundtrack or anything like that. Um, and the game see, Streets of Rage is entirely propped up by the music. If you took the music out of Streets of Rage, I don't know if people would even really think about the game much today. I mean it's that dependent on it, and so I think that this was the kind of game where you almost wanted to make sure that the music was good before you even like went forward to make the game, because it's like what was the point in making this game if you weren't going to get the music right? I mean I just feel like that was just another case of it's just like a complete misfire where they should have made sure that was rock solid, because I mean it's a basic legacy of the game. It's known for its music. I also wanted to point out, I think I noticed something the last time I played this, and I wanted to see if I could reproduce it. It's a really compelling gameplay here. Oh yeah, the other interesting thing too is like the game doesn't have an auto attack. I mean, once again, it's 2020. Why can't I just hold down a button to do a combo so I don't have to get even more carpoed out? So look at the highlights of on Blaze there. See how a highlight appears on her hair and hands and legs when you get closer to the light there, and so it has that kind of like overlaid highlight, to give you the impression that there's real time lighting there. But I noticed something. Let me see if I can reproduce it here though. Oh yeah, see. There's a bug in the game. What you see? Notice how the highlight is flickering on and off, because I just happened to place my character in between where they set the cutoff point to display the highlight. So it looks like that there's like a strobe light in the room or something that's blinking. So I noticed this within 1 second of playing the game, and apparently this was made by professionals who actually had a quality assurance team and tested this. But hey, as Digital Foundry tells us, this game boasts an amazing lighting system. It's sure boasting. And oh yeah, and I wanted to point this out too. So I just find this fucking hilarious. So given everything I've said and just all the things I pointed out, you would think like, holy shit, man, this game must have been made in 2 weeks. How much time did they have to make this shit? So I mean, this game took like years to make, and I find it so funny that there's an option for food. You can go into this food option, and you can select the graphic that displays for different types of food. So I guess like I guess like if you see a pizza, it's the less health, and if you see the hamburger, it's more health or something. But I'm just thinking though, like, why wouldn't you just randomize it? Why wouldn't you just make different graphics appear for different small foods and different big foods, and why is this a fucking option? Like, who on the planet actually gave a shit about this? And given all the other problems with the game, how did this become a priority to implement? I mean, it's like I want to be a fly on the wall in that meeting, because some people sat at a big table and said, "Oh, hey guys, our game's fucking crap. Nothing works. It's slow and it feels like shit." And then the response was, "Well, you know what? That might be true, but I think that we need to spend another 3 months on the option to set the graphics for the food, because that's really fucking important." Yeah, and so what are the systems was I noticing? That's the other. So you like your strong attack move will make the character like lose health, but see how like I now have that green health bar. So if before I get hit again I attack, I can actually recoup the lost health, and so it has that mechanic. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad. Personally, like so far, it seems like there's no downside to just using it, because it's like so easy to recoup the health that you lose. But I mean, maybe on like the higher difficulties or something, it becomes more of a trade-off and matters more. But But once again, though, it's just like I said. You can just see how archaic and backwards a lot of this stuff is. It's like 2020. They're still worried about points. They're still worried about these like combo modifiers thing. It's like it's 2020. Like nobody gives a shit. I mean, why isn't there more focus on the fundamentals? Like why isn't this fun? I mean, and that's the other thing too. I'll point out like while I'm holding this baton. So in Final Fight, the gold standard if you pick up a pipe, there is a legitimate bonus to doing that. I just increased my reach dramatically. You know, like a pipe has way more horizontal reach than just my fist. So there's a justification for using the weapon. But look at this. Look at that lame ass swing. There's no reach on it. And that's where I noticed about almost like all of the weapons that you grab in this game. They drew these shitty animations for doing these attacks, and so it doesn't even really feel like you actually gain a lot of reach. And so it makes you just think like, well, why am I even bothering to pick up these weapons? Like, they suck. I might as well just keep using my normal attacks. And again, it's just a case. Oh God, let me fucking dash. Let me dash. It's too fucking slow. Yeah, I mean, yikes. Yeah, I no, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can play this much longer. It's just you got to get these basic things right. You know, if you don't, it's just not going to work for me. Oh yeah, and the other thing too that I noticed, that I thought was funny is that I noticed that like when certain characters were picking up weapons like batons, when I punched them with their pain animation, the baton disappeared. And then when the pain animation ended, the baton appeared again. So, they didn't even bother to, actually, place all of the items for all the frames of animations for the characters. But, hey, this game boasts some pretty impressive graphics, right? Yeah, and I'm sure that just as I was mentioning before, it's the same old thing, where they give the enemies bullshit moves that force you to dodge because they couldn't actually come up with a way to make the game challenging, without allowing the enemies just to do bullshit. And like I said, I mean, that's fine, and I guess it's a way that you can design these things. But personally though, I think that in 2020, people need to be thinking about other ways to make these games challenging and exciting. There's got to be some attempt to not make the games just feel like cheap shit, because all that stuff is just like the heritage of arcade games, where they basically just wanted to, suck your quarters, so they didn't really give a shit whether the game felt cheap or not. But like I said, this is a case though of where, you got none of that motivation. Oh God, why is like it stopping the? And that's the other thing too. I mean, in games of all types, I can't stand it when they pause the entire game for some like supposedly melodramatic thing. I mean, don't interrupt the flow of the gameplay, okay? I mean, this game has no flow, but assuming that this game actually had some flow to it, I don't want the game to pause for like special moves and attacks and things like that. Just let the action play out. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like I said, I mean, you can just tell that this game is just. They couldn't really come up with a way to, make it feel like fair and challenging. They had to just say, oh, okay, we'll give the bosses a bunch of invincibility frames. The other thing I found kind of interesting too is, it seems like the game doesn't have a lot of invincibility frames for the characters when you're throwing enemies, which is kind of unusual because invincibility frames while you're throwing is like a pretty common thing. I mean look at that shit. I threw. Oh, come on, man. See, that totally should have interrupted this guy. Yeah, no. This kind of shit is just it's played out, man. All this kind of shit where. Oh God! See, like I hate shit like that because it doesn't feel fair, and that's an important thing. I think if they really want to move forward with these games, they need to give you the feeling that you're not being cheated while still kind of being challenging to a certain extent. and it just isn't happening here. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how much more there is to say about this. I don't feel like I'm going to really be able to, sit through this. I don't know why it has cutscenes, like as if anybody gives a crap. Um, to a certain extent, I can't really say that I'm disappointed or let down or anything, because I mean I really wasn't expecting much for this, but I do kind of feel bad for the people that are like really into Streets of Rage and really wanted something awesome, because they had the ability to do something good. It could have been good, but this is what we got.